you know, I don't know if is a facial expression defamation, is a reaction, or I like maybe this is one for Twitch. For all the React Andes, I got you. I'm willing to do the noble thing. I'm willing to be sued by Sargon of Akkad because I want to defend our right. Yes, I would say our privilege, our freedom of speech to react to the disgusting pedophilic comments they make, to the disgusting defense of groomers and pedophiles. I think I have a right, and it's a fundamental part of a free society and a democratic society, to be able to react to that with my disgust and shock and horror. I should be able to do this. Yes, and I will fight for this. I will fight for all of you. All of you. So, if you're not familiar with the saga, and I do want to stick my head in here and say that I am the OG original person who exposed James Lindsay for the Nexium cult stuff on the large scale, but I got blocked by James before Twitter 2.0, the HAN Twitter. So back then, James wouldn't block me if I posted the photo of him with Nexium cult very high ranking member, like inner circle, top 5, you know, Nikki Klein. And multiple times, you know, Nikki Klein posting this picture, I taught him everything he knows, them doing the Breakfast Club picture, the other one being the road trip that they took together, another post of him, James Lindsay, saying out loud that this is my friend. Well, one of those, you know, that one is there as well. Super yikesy, by the way. This is a full-on cult in which not only were they doing sex trafficking, and the leading member was arrested for both the rape of a child and pedophilia, but they were branding people inside the inner circle. They had this inner teeny group in which every single member in the inner circle, including Nikki Klein, was responsible for recruiting other women. Those women would then become, quote, your slaves. As your slaves, they would have to continue to make offerings to you. Those offerings would come in the form of evidence. So I want naked photos of you. I want compromising pictures of you. I want pictures and information about you that would get you in trouble if it got out. The more you give me, the more dedicated to you you are to me as your master. Their terms, they would call it master-slave relationships. And in pursuant of that, the slaves would have to give as much information as they could. They would text them naked photos of them. They would text them, you know, their bank account numbers, stuff like that, until they were considered devoted enough, at which point they would be branded, yes, branded, with a symbol they thought was the secret symbol of the inner circle. They were going to change the world and all this, but that brand was actually the nickname, the initials of the cult leader. Yeah, this is all true. And then on top of which, they would then enter into a sexual, hypersexual relationship with him. They would control their eating. He would starve them because he liked women to be exceptionally skinny. They would be dizzy and passing out if they weren't being raped and stuff like that. As well as the fact that they were then responsible for, you guessed it, recruiting more women. So then those same women who went through that whole horrifying process I just told you and branded would then get to that point and then have to do it to someone else. And then they would have to do it to someone else until that inner circle continued to grow and grow until the whole thing eventually became exposed because a couple of the people left and started becoming whistleblowers. Now, of all the individuals, Nikki Klein is not one of the people who was like, I strongly in the possible terms condemn everything that he has been accused of. But she's been one of his longtime defenders. She was married to the woman who was his personal, like, number one concubine. That's how high up this goes. So again, for the okay groomer guy to think that any of this was going to be okay, wow. Just absolutely wild, you know? James Lindsay is having a total meltdown because a Twitter account popular with his followers has now called him out on the viral photo of his hangout with a prominent member of the Nexium cult. The OK Groomer man cannot handle a taste of his own medicine. So that was just a little while ago. He's been begging. He's like, if you have time, when you see that spam photo in my replies, report it for spamming. It's not hard to ignore, but it needs to get shut down. How is that spamming? What? They're not selling you anything. That's not what spam is. Oh, you don't know what free speech is. Okay, so free speech to the right-wingers, that just means don't post the thing about me that's really embarrassing. That's free speech. But everything else, no. Okay. Well, things got a little sillier. Let's check on how things are going for two of the right-wing Twitter users who were just unbanned on Twitter in the name of free speech. So we got Sargon of Akkad over here, and on the left, we got James Lindsay. An open secret. James Lindsay also loves tweeting back and forth hundreds of times with Nikki Klein. Hundreds of times. Good friends. In James' own words, they're good friends. They go on road trips. They take photo shoots together. Yeah, it seems like the OK Groomer guy is really close friends with someone who was involved in a child sex trafficking cult. Interesting. Also loves tweeting back and forth hundreds of times with Nikki Klein, a high-ranking member of a convicted pedophile sex cult, but just ignored that part. James and Zay, might have to think about suing you. You fucking snowflake. Don't even have the balls to be like, I'm gonna sue you. Might have to think about suing you. Might have to contemplate an idea where I fathom having a lawsuit against you. Is that scary? Does that scare? Again, same thing with Matt Walsh to me, by the way. Matt Walsh was like, defamatory lies by the Serfs, blah, blah, blah. I was like, it's a video of you. I'm posting you. This is in your own words, sir. I mean, please have at it. Sue me. I would welcome that so fast. Like, discovery will be amazing. I cannot wait, Matt. Yes, please. There's a lot of things that I'd like to request on the behalf of my legal team to find out what you have on your end over there, buddy. And I think you got a lot more to hide than I do. So yeah. Oh no, I would love that. Please, please. I beg you. And then, Sargon says, you should sue for defamation. It's the only language they speak. Now, why would someone say that? Because he responded with, I have contacted a series of defamatory lawyers and have archived tweets from certain people who should know better. Things are in motion. Well, Carl, the things that everyone's been posting about you, that he's really mad and trying to get taken down off the internet, because again, they don't know about free speech. They just know about their free feelings. That's what this has always been about. It's their free feelings. And just like, but my feelings have to be free. They can't be hurt or unadulterated in any way. Stay away from my feelings. It's video and or clips and or shit that Carl has said about the age of consent, and they're all super yikesy, because, surprise, surprise, every one of these motherfuckers is projecting when they're going off about groomers, gay people are groomers, trans people are groomers. By the way, the age of consent, it would probably be a lot cooler if it was something akin to, what do they have in Europe, where it's like 14 or something, and you're like, it's not like a 40-year-old can have sex with a 14-year-old in France. No, it's for people of that age in a similar bracket. Canada has similar regulations as well. It's going to be appropriate for a 16-year-old to have sex with an 18-year-old under Canadian law. That is true. That is, again, different than a 45-year-old having sex with a 16-year-old, which is illegal under Canadian law. So, yeah, those are kind of yikesy takes, I gotta say. Sargon of a cat. Also, didn't he has the Amos Lee thing too, right? Hold on. Carl Benjamin had Amos Lee on his podcast. He talked about the age of consent. After this, Carl somewhat defended him, saying that he was just trolling. Amos Lee is currently serving jail time. Oh, wow. This is going to be a blast from the past. Here. Baby Lance. Some weird-ass hair.
But anyway, look at his fucking face. He's just having a great time violating social norms. That's what he's doing. Like, conceivably, maybe, and this is what Milo was arguing for. He's saying that it didn't harm me. Milo's the example where he enjoyed the relationship and found it beneficial, and that's what Amos is defending. And nothing Dankula says can disprove that the small number, at least, ideologically, can't disprove.
Now, I just want to know, I don't know if I'm part of his, I'm contacting defamatory lawyers and I've got an internet archive of all the receipts. I don't know if this is going to be included in it, because I don't know, is it that I'm adding too much commentary in my, reaction face, being like, because what you're saying is super gross. I think that's a normal human reaction. I think a court of law would probably agree with that. It's unusual for someone to defend someone who's making jokes about raping kids and then say that he's just trolling that same person who then turned out to be convicted for pedophilia, owning child porn. Sorry, I should be specific about that. Yeah, so that's, I don't know if, is a facial expression defamation? Is a reaction? Or maybe this is one for Twitch. For all the React Andes, I got you. I'm willing to do the noble thing. I'm willing to be sued by Sargon of a Cad because I want to defend our right, yes, I would say our privilege, our freedom of speech to react to the disgusting pedophilic comments they make, to the disgusting defense of groomers and pedophiles, I think I have a right, and it's a fundamental part of a free society and a democratic society, to be able to react to that with my disgust and shock and horror. I should be able to do this. Yes. And I will fight for this. I will fight for all of you. All of you.
Prove the small number are not harmful, you know.
Kids cannot consent, so they're all harmful by nature. There is no, oh, well, you know, I'm not talking about the bad pedos. I'm talking about the good pedos. There's good pedos, all right? Not the bad pedos. Bad pedos are cuties.
Okay. Now, there might be more for Sargon to get me on here. Although, I would still defend my position in this. I don't think that there are good and bad pedos. I don't think there's a hierarchy of pedos. I know libertarians like to try and create one where they're like, well, these are actually ephebophiles. They're different. They're very different. Yeah, no, if a 40-year-old wants to have sex with a 16-year-old, we should distinguish that between whether or not he wants to have sex with a 12-year-old, because ephebophilia is different than pedophilia. I was like, okay, but you'd agree that like they should be illegal and not allowed, and so we should probably, just broadly speaking, not try to say that these are like, well, these are the better ones. At least he's not one of the pedos.
Yes, Netflix is.
I'm yes, also watching my old videos, and look how terrible my hair is in this. I look like Richard Spencer. The call-outs were fair back then, okay? I don't worry, I got a better barber. Life is better. I also no longer live in the closet, metaphorically or literally. So that's awesome.
This is the bad pedos. I'm talking about the good pedos. This is one of the good pedos, everybody. They're all fucking bad. There's no such thing as a consensual relationship between an adult and a child. I don't know why this has to be, like, pointed out to all you pedophile hunters. You're so jacked up all the time to call out every pedophile. It's like, oh, yeah, the liberals, the elites, Hillary Clinton is the pedophile queen, and Obama is the pedophile king. Yeah, so on, Joe Biden is the pedophile prince, every one of them.
Okay, that's kind of funny.
Meanwhile, it's like, well
I could see him just suing me for this. Being like, I've never once said that Joe Biden was the pedophile prince. This is clearly a lie.
This one's okay, all right? So sometimes there's a beneficial relationship between a child and an adult if it's consensual. They cannot fucking consent. That's the point. There's no such thing. It's very easy.
It is very easy. I agree with old Lance of the past. Also, Sargon, you stop worrying about people posting your own quotes. Like, the one that's going around the most is the UKIP one. And it's funny, because someone just took a UKIP, like, poster, and they'll add his terrible quotes. Like, I wouldn't even rape you, which is what he said to a fellow politician who was a woman. And then he didn't back down on it, because he's like, it's a joke. And then suddenly it turned out that fish were attracted to his face, and they flew directly at him. That was pretty funny. But, yeah. Old-timey Lance was based too. Yeah, I know. The Lance of yesteryear. It is, I find this endlessly funny that the two of them are just like James Lindsay really is in a bad way, considering that he has a very long history with Nikki Klein, Inner Circle, NXIVM cult member, branding, leader, is now a convicted pedophile, that kind of shit. That one's really bad. It's really bad. And again, it's projection. Doesn't matter who. You name me a single fucking right-winger, I can probably find them having the yikesy take in the past. Tucker Carlson, he's got a full Fox and Friends style. He's in a room full of other women on Fox talking about how a 16-year-old teacher giving a lap dance to a boy. A teacher giving a lap dance to a 16-year-old boy, teenager, is totally fine because he's a boy, and defending it for a long time. Well, all the women are like, wait, what? No, the 16-year-old teacher should not give a lap dance to the boy in the class. That's extremely inappropriate. That's sexual assault. What? Tucker. And then Tucker has other ones where he talks about how the two young college kids, no, they weren't even college, they were fucking, I think they were teenagers, they were like 14 or 15 year olds. Yeah, it was like two 14 or 15 year olds like hooking up, blah blah blah. You don't think like your daughter would do that, blah blah blah, aren't you worried that's gonna happen to her? The little young teens just get curious. And it's like, well, I would love that scenario if it wasn't my daughter. And it's like, you would love that scenario if it wasn't Tucker Carlson. You're saying this all out loud. Not to mention, he's also defended other people who happen to be pedophiles numerous times. Jeremy Hambley both has the PSA PSA that he made where he tries to tell people you should delete child porn off your computer if you're going to be bringing it in for repairs, because they might find it and then they'll call in the cops. So I have to make a PSA about how you defend that. Also, AZ Argento is a dream maker, even though she groomed a little kid for a very long time and then had sex with him when he was a minor. Even though that happened, I don't think that's bad. Maybe in the eyes of the law, but I mean, I still think it's kind of hot that that happened. It doesn't matter who you pick. It's all projection. Every single one of them. Remember how they said teacher doing prevented the teenage boys from harassing her? Oh yeah, there's that other one with Tucker Carlson where he's like, it's a release valve. This like, I forget. She was maybe like in her mid 30s, or maybe she was like 27. Either way, teacher rapes a 13-year-old boy multiple times in a week. And Tucker was going off about how this woman was unattractive. And so in a lot of ways, that was just, her servicing a young kid to provide a release valve so he could not have sex with other teenagers. And then I was like, that is so fucked up and weird that you're okay with an adult raping a kid multiple times because you think it's like taking away the sexual pressure of that child. Like, that's unbelievably fucked up to both say, think, and or say out loud, right? For a matter of public record. But, yeah. Hey, if you ever seen some people who say these horrible things and we want to keep them on the internet, not get them taken down, even if Twitter goes down, come to the Serfs Schoolery, where we share things like this. The coordinator is obsessed with Elon, always replying to him and making multiple videos about him per day. Elon has never responded until now, and it's a flat-out rejection. This is a battle for the future. Oh, I love this tweet, by the way. It's like, he's just taking himself so seriously. Like, my dude, you bought a $44 billion midlife crisis. That everyone knows what this is, you know? It's very, very clear. I remain, what is it, stalwart? Is that the term, stalwart? Stalwart? No, that's just being silly. Stalwart. In the sense that, like, I still agree with the take that how when you break up with someone more importantly, when someone breaks up with you and you go on their socials just to see how they're doing, maybe, a couple months later, and they're doing really bad, they're like dating some weird, gross looking creep, and they're very unhappy. It gives you a little schadenfreude because like, oh, you broke up with me, but you're not doing great. Grimes is on the crystal meth version of that. Whatever the crystal meth version of that feeling is, that's what Grimes is on. Because he bought the entire social media site. Like the whole thing. And he's just broadcasting on main how bad he is at everything. He's just unbelievably bad. He's not a talented human being in any way. And it's destroying his entire empire. Tesla's going down too, because investors are like, oh God, yeah, the emperor wears no clothes, taking my cash out. So it's kind of funny that he would say this. This is a battle for the future of civilization. If free speech is lost, even in America, tyranny is all that lies ahead. And again, to him, free speech means letting the Nazis back on board. That's what he thinks free speech is. Yeah. Cool stuff. The Quartering says, Elon, can you please be more specific? Most of us understand the fight for free speech online and the collusion and duopoly that exists, but for people who need a more precise target. Would you be open to a 10-minute Zoom interview? I have 1.4 million subscribers and fight for free speech too. I think I have been very specific. This motherfucker's palling around with Ian Miles Chong. The dude is like scum, just like pawn scum, like the lowest form. Like there's a lot of people who are like, oh no, I'm not gonna deal with Ian. What, Ian Miles? Are you serious? The guy who like caused a dog to die by false swatting? The guy who used to make a whole bunch of raping babies jokes and lowering? No, the lowering the age of consent guy? No, I'm not associated with Ian Miles Chong. Elon has no problem with it. Jeremy Handley on the other end, it's pretty cold. Shut down right away. You announced you're leaving Twitter only to come back 2 days later. What, did you announce it again? He does it like twice a year and then just uses it to fundraise. It's a cycle. I'm surprised none of his fans have picked up on it. Or he cycles through and like greases his fans so often. Maybe that's how this all works. Maybe it's one of those things where like the Quartering, because you know how they fleece their fans. The Quartering and all of them basically will, sell them on a bunch of shit, get them to sign up for a bunch of garbage, make them buy cryptocurrency and invest in FTX and shit. And then obviously a certain percentage of their fans are like, well, that sucks. I don't like you, but they find new ones. And then it's just rinse and repeat. You just, as you grow, thanks to the algorithm, you get new people to scam every year. So you repeat the same cycles. By the way, if you didn't know, Kyle Rittenhouse basically is selling a mobile game where he kills turkeys, aka he's profiting off a mobile video game, which is based off the fact that he killed 2 people, and that's why people would have an interest in buying it and playing it, because they know who he is and his brand from the fact that he killed 2 people. But in this one, he's killing turkeys. Yeah, so...
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback, because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Juste, we shall spend many a generations building mighty cathedrals in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your oafish jesters, here to offer you a laugh at any opportunity. To our brave knights of the Round Table, Rachel K., Izzy Solidarity, Victoria Bell, Sebastian Demel, Mark Harmon, Benji Arnie, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood, Everything Important, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Doug Cady, Daniel Sutton, Jenna Tao, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevbot EXE, Brian Ephraim, Anthropophojack, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Ralph Parler, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Todd Buckingham, and Todd La Jeunesse. We salute our valiant heroes off to fight injustice everywhere.